We will now begin to walk through each part of a resume, so please be sure to have your resume sample document handy so that you can refer to it as we discuss each part of the resume. In this section, I will be discussing the resume header so you understand how to best structure the heading on your resume. You will learn what information should be included along with some important tips to keep in mind. Your heading is a very important part of your resume. It lets the reader know your name and, most importantly, how to contact you to set up an interview. Your heading should be listed at the very top of your resume and include such things as your name, address, phone number, and email address. Your name should be bold and typically a little larger font size than the rest of the document so it stands out. The name listed on your resume should be your full or formal name. Try to avoid using any nicknames. However, if you never use your full name but use the shortened version, it is acceptable to list the formal name followed by the shortened name you use in parentheses and then your last name. For example, if your name is Robert Jones and you always go by Bob, you can list it as Robert Bob Jones if you prefer. This way, when the employer contacts you, they know how to address you. Your address should include your full address. If you are not comfortable listing your home address on your resume, you may want to consider adding a P.O. box number. You always want to be sure to add your city and state on your resume. Because keep in mind, although you may only be applying to local jobs, oftentimes your resume is being reviewed by a corporate or regional recruiter who is located in a different state, and it will be important for them to know where all of the candidates are physically located for various reasons. Your phone number is also a must-have on your resume, as the first point of contact from the employer will typically come from a phone call. It is fine to list two numbers on your resume, such as a home number or a cell phone number. However, if one of those numbers is very easy to reach you at, and you have a voicemail system set up that you retrieve daily, then you may want to consider only listing one number. Oftentimes, this will make it easier on the employer. However, if you do use more than one number on your resume, be sure to differentiate the phone numbers by listing home or cell in parentheses after the number. Here's a tip. It is not only important to have voicemail set up on the phone number that you've listed, it is also very important to have a professional sounding voicemail message attached to that phone. If your message is not professional, courteous, or appropriate for a prospective employer to hear, then you must change your voicemail message immediately before the employer starts calling you. Your email address is also an important piece on your resume header. Employers may decide to reach you by email, or at some point in the application and interviewing process will most likely need to send you information electronically, so it's important that they have your email from the very start. Here's another tip. Just like your voicemail message, your email address needs to be professional and appropriate for a prospective employer to see. We have all seen unprofessional or unbusinesslike email addresses before, such as partyboy@yahoo.com. If your email address is not professional sounding, it may negatively impact you. You never know who may be reading your resume, and the smallest thing may be a deciding factor as to whether or not they call you for an interview. If your email address is not professional or appropriate for a prospective employer to see, then you must create a new address immediately. Email addresses are easy to create, and they are free. Using something like your name or initials is appropriate. Also, you do not need to delete your old address. You can still keep it for personal use, if you wish, but use your new professional email address for your resume and anything else related to your job search. A couple of optional items that can be used in your resume header include your LinkedIn web address or a web address to your online portfolio if you have one. LinkedIn is a professional networking site. If you have a LinkedIn profile, you may want to include your URL in the header section. But be sure that your profile is 100% completed and that you have the recommendations and endorsed skills on your profile so the prospective employers can see this information. If you are in the field of visual communication and graphic design or any of the creative arts, it is recommended to have an online portfolio for prospective employers and clients to view your work. Including the web address on your online portfolio will be important for the employer to see, and may even give you the leading edge against other candidates who do not include this information on their resume. You now have the information you need to create an effective resume header.